Hello and welcome back to the A Word and Me. My name is Alana and today's video is answering your questions on autism. So I asked people if they had any questions about being autistic and autism, and I've decided to answer all the questions that I've got given. So I hope you enjoy and it helps you learn about a bit more about autism as well, especially because this week is Autism Awareness Week. Enjoy! So I think the things that affect me the most are my anxiety of different things. So I get really anxious about going on trains, about stomach bugs, kind of not being in control of things. And to manage it, I use a lot of the techniques that I've been taught at various CAMS things, and I will make a video about them in the future. Other things I struggle with are sensory things, so touch, sound, and I just kind of wear special clothing for the touch things, and sound I use my headphones. For me, one of the kind of worst misconceptions about autism is the kind of presumption that people who are autistic have a complete lack of empathy towards people and can't understand people's emotions. I think for some people, like, that definitely, they do pick up less emotions than other people, but I think for me, I pick up a lot of things that other people don't pick up on. How someone might be feeling or they're acting and little small things that they do, that I can then build a better picture to understand how they're emotionally feeling, and I know like other people can't do that, so I think that's kind of a big misconception for me. And I think the other thing is that if you're autistic, you are like insanely clever, you're really good at maths, things like that. That's not true. So for me, I did A-level maths and I got an A in it. I'm doing some form of maths at uni, so I would say I'm better than average at maths. But my brother, for example, struggles a lot with maths and he's autistic, so that's not necessarily true. And like saying that people with autism have a fantastic memory, some of us have that, but not everyone. I find that autism doesn't really go into the media that much. I know there was the programme on BBC called The A Word. I watched a couple of episodes of that, but I stopped watching it because it was kind of getting me down because of what everyone else was saying about autistic people and what the family was saying and the community was saying, and it kind of made me quite anxious about what people might have been saying about me and just the way autism was portrayed. But I think it got really good reviews, so I'm sure what it did really effectively, but just as an autistic person, it just wasn't for me. I don't think there is that much autism in the media, and I think when they do have someone that's autistic, they don't always quite get it right, and they only like kind of go for the stereotypical autism and that little one kind of model, and they don't pick up on lots of the other things that could be autism. So that's kind of frustrating, but I understand why they do it. This isn't really related to the question, but one of the things I find hard is that the CAM, so that's the Children and Adolescents Mental Health Service that the NHS offer and provide, and in the waiting room they have photos of celebrities saying what conditions they have that you would be treated for at CAMS. So there's a lot with ADHD, OCD, anxiety, depression, but no one on that wall has autism, and that always really frustrates me because I think autism is, especially for me, one of those conditions where people are a lot less open about sharing. Like, people will say, oh, I have depression, I have anxiety, maybe I have ADHD, but very few people ever say I'm autistic. Like, I think, you know, it's really few people say it. And I think if in a place like CAMS, if there was one or two celebrities or someone that said, look, I'm autistic, rather than just having no autistic people and all of these other conditions, it would help, because I noticed that, And it's just like, okay, well, there's a big bubble of people that are missing. It's almost suggesting that you can't be highly successful if you're autistic, when that's not true at all. Being autistic feels like being me. This was by far my favourite question. So my superpower, I would say, is my ability to remember dates. So my cousin is absolutely fantastic at dates, and like I'm nowhere near his level, but I can remember them quite easily. So I remember for politics, my teacher was like, Alana, you can just remember dates. He goes, learn them. He goes, learn as many as you can because you can put them all into your essays. And he goes, it's something that other people can't do. Yeah, I am sensory sensitive. So, for example, loud noises, sound of people eating, kind of touching, like how things feel. Don't particularly like bright lights. I hate the colour yellow. This is a nice question. I really like this actually. Yes, people do treat you differently, and it really annoys me. So one of the things that really bugs me is misinterpretation. So you have an argument with someone, and it's always like, oh, you, Alana, you misinterpreted them, or you misinterpreted me, Alana, and that's what they all say. And I'm just like, but what if actually you're misinterpreting me? Because that happens, and it's like no one picks up on that. Or sometimes they'll use that you misinterpreted them, Alana, to me all the time, and it's like, do you know what? Half the time I don't actually think I did. I think they're just covering their own backs over what I say, because I feel like if other people get involved, you as such are the minority. You're the one that thinks in this different way to everyone else. So the easiest thing to do is to pick on you. And I've had problems with, being manipulated and stuff by people, and having that as a problem, like blaming myself for something because that's how people have made me feel, when actually it's not my fault at all. And I find that really hard to deal with. Like, it's just, I feel it's so degrading for people to be like, oh, you're misinterpreting these things. It's like, do you know what? No, not always. I'm not always doing it. You're just saying that, and it's like they never consider that they may be misinterpreting me because they are the social majority, and I really don't like that. So I think there's two halves to this question. There's, have they picked and bullied me because they know I'm autistic, or because of like the traits I have? No one has bullied or picked on me because they know I'm autistic. I've had one nasty comment where I got called a bleep autistic twat, and I did have someone in the family when I was diagnosed. I think they found it quite hard, and they said to me, Alana, we used to be normal and you're no longer normal, you're now abnormal. And she goes, I don't understand all these things that you're saying, because when you went on holiday with you were fine, you were normal. And I was like, well, actually no, I've always had these problems. They've just got worse. I've got older, and I was trying to hide them for so long. So I was feeling all this anxiety and stress over things, but I never told you because I was scared of, what people were thinking, and I didn't really know why I was like this. And once I knew that I was autistic, I was like, oh, I understand now. I can be more open about the fact that these things, because people will understand and want to support me. And then to answer, do people bully or treat me differently? The answer is, yeah, they do. Because especially primary school, I was odd, and when you're that age, you don't understand and think, oh, why might that person be odd? You just go, okay, well, they're different from everyone else. And people kind of talk about you behind your back, laugh at you over things that you do, and yeah, that's like the harsh reality of it, is that has happened. So, in short, autism cannot be cured. Nor do I want it to be cured, and I think most people don't want autism to be cured. Despite the difficulties that it brings lots of positives and it makes me who I am. And I wouldn't want to be any different. This is me, this is Alana, this is how I've known myself to be. And I don't want anything to change that. I don't want people to take away my personality. Like, no one would want that. So autism, just no, it cannot be cured and it should not be cured, is my firm belief on that. The difference is, you can manage the symptoms of autism, but that's managing them, not curing them. And managing them through things, just making things a bit easier for everyone. So, changing things like touch, introducing routines, understanding that people don't really like change and be accommodating to that. I've had seminar tutors that have been really accommodating to me over the fact that I find working in groups much harder, working in pairs, and they make those adjustments for you. So they're helping managing the symptoms that are kind of not as positive. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope if you submitted a question, the answer was satisfactory. And if you didn't, I hope you learned a lot more about autism and some common questions that people had, and you found the video engaging and interesting. And most importantly, I hope you all have a brilliant week. And I'll see you next Monday, and thank you for watching this one. Goodbye!